The Complete Human Gymnasium, transforming human value and competencies into human assets in the age of AI. Hi, I'm really glad you are here for this one. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to actually think about it before I keep talking. What is something you can do that a computer cannot do? Take a second. Really think. Maybe you thought of something like comforting a friend who is sad, or coming up with a totally new idea nobody has had before, or noticing that something feels wrong even before you can explain why, or making someone laugh so hard they can barely breathe. Here is the interesting part. Computers and robots and artificial intelligence, which people call AI, are getting incredibly good at a lot of things. They can calculate faster than any human. They can write essays. They can paint pictures. They can even hold a conversation that sounds a lot like a real person. So, if machines can do so much, what is left for us? That question is exactly what this whole lesson is about. And by the end of it, you're going to understand something called the Complete Human Gymnasium, which is a place and also an idea built around answering that exact question. Let us start at the beginning. The problem. Imagine 4 different times in history. A long time ago, almost everyone in the world grew food. That was basically the only way to survive. Farming was the whole economy. Then, slowly, some people stopped farming and became doctors, lawyers, teachers, and priests. That was a new kind of value, built on knowledge and training instead of just growing crops. Then came factories and machines. Suddenly, you did not need thousands of people to make 1,000 shirts. A machine could do it. This was called the Industrial Age, and it changed everything about how people worked and earned a living. And now, we are living through the 4th big shift. Computers, the internet, and artificial intelligence are taking over huge parts of what used to require a human brain. Typing, calculating, organizing, even a lot of writing and designing. Machines are doing it, and doing it fast. Here is the pattern I want you to notice. Every single time one of these shifts happened, some part of what people used to do got taken over by something new, and every single time, humans did not disappear. They moved toward whatever the machines still could not do. So here is the real problem underneath all of this. Right now, today, millions of people, especially grown-ups who run businesses, invest money, lead teams, or are trying to build something new, are asking themselves a scary question. If a computer can do my job faster and cheaper than me, what am I actually worth? That is not just a grown-up problem, by the way. It's going to be your problem too, in a few years, when you are choosing what to study, what to build, what kind of person to become. Most schools do not really teach this. Most schools still teach you to memorize facts and follow instructions, which honestly is exactly the kind of thing a computer is now really good at doing instead of you. Let me make this even more real. Imagine 2 people applying for the same opportunity, whether that is a job, or a chance to lead a project, or a chance to run their own business. One of them is extremely good at following instructions and repeating information correctly. The other one is good at staying calm when things go wrong, noticing what other people need before they even say it, coming up with an idea nobody else thought of, and explaining that idea in a way that makes people want to help. A few years ago, both of those people might have looked equally impressive on paper. Today, and especially in the next 10 years, only one of them is doing something a machine genuinely struggles to do. This is not a small, distant problem. It affects grown-ups who already built careers around skills that are now being automated. It affects business owners who are not sure what still makes their company special when a competitor can use the same technology. And it will affect you when you are choosing where to put your own effort and attention as you grow up. So there is a gap, a very real, very important gap, between what we were trained to be good at and what the world actually needs from a human being now. That gap is the problem, and the Complete Human Gymnasium exists to close it. The prize: what happens when you overcome this problem? Now let us flip it around. What happens if you actually solve this problem instead of just worrying about it? Imagine you spent time, real focused time, getting better at the things that are deeply and permanently human. Things like staying calm under pressure, understanding your own emotions and other people's emotions, coming up with creative solutions nobody has thought of, building trust with people, staying physically strong and clear-headed, thinking about the future in a wise way, not just reacting to today. If you built those abilities on purpose, the way an athlete builds muscle on purpose, you would become something that is very hard to replace. Not because you are competing against a machine and trying to out-calculate it. You would win by not even playing that game. You would become valuable in a completely different way, a way only humans can be valuable. That is the prize. Becoming what the method calls irreplaceable. Not because of a job title, but because of who you actually are and what you can actually do. And here is something important. This does not just feel good on the inside, although it does feel good. It also becomes something real in the world, something people will pay for, invest in, and build businesses around. We are going to get into exactly how in a few minutes. For now, just hold on to this idea. The prize is not just avoiding the problem, it is becoming someone who thrives specifically because of the problem. The rise of AI is not bad news for someone who trains their human side on purpose. It is actually the best news in a long time, because it makes human skills more valuable than they have ever been. The path of least resistance. Okay, so if this sounds exciting, you might be thinking, that sounds like a lot of work. Do I need 10 years of school for this? Here is the good news. The normal way people stumble into becoming this kind of complete, well-rounded, valuable human being usually takes somewhere between 10 and 15 years. That is a long time. Most people figure it out slowly, through trial and error, through mistakes, through luck, without any clear map. The Complete Human Gymnasium was built to shorten that path, dramatically, by giving you an actual map instead of making you wander around figuring it out alone. Think about a real gym for a second. If you wanted to get physically strong, you could just wander into a gym and randomly lift things and hope for the best. Or you could follow a program, built by people who understand exactly which exercises build which muscles, in which order, with which amount of rest in between. The second way gets you real results much faster, with much less wasted effort. The Complete Human Gymnasium works the same way, except instead of training just your muscles, it trains 12 different parts of what makes you a complete human being. Let me give you a quick sense of a few of them, so this feels real instead of abstract. There is your physical body, obviously, but also your nervous system, which is basically how well you handle stress without falling apart. There is your emotional side, meaning how well you understand and manage your own feelings instead of being controlled by them. There is your creative side, your social side, meaning how well you build real relationships with people, and something you could call your sense of meaning, which is basically understanding why you are doing what you are doing, not just doing it because someone told you to. 12 areas total, all trained together on purpose, instead of leaving 11 of them to chance while you only focus on one, like grades, or sports, or how you look. And the path of least resistance, meaning the easiest way to start, is almost embarrassingly small. You do not need to quit school or change your whole life. You start with 20 minutes a day. That is it. 20 minutes, practicing real techniques, the same kind of techniques people use to build any skill, just applied to being a more complete human. 20 minutes a day does not sound like much. But here is the secret about time. It is not about how much time you spend once. It is about showing up again and again and again. 20 minutes a day, done consistently, adds up to something enormous over months and years. That consistency is actually the whole path of least resistance, not intensity. Just showing up, how you pay for it. Now, let us talk honestly about the part that involves money, because that is a real and fair question. The Complete Human Gymnasium works through something called membership. You can think of membership a little bit like a subscription to a gym, except this one is not just about your body. Here is something interesting about how it is designed. A membership here is not treated like a simple monthly bill that just disappears. It is treated more like a wallet. It comes with things included, gifted extras, and a structure that is designed so what you put in keeps working for you instead of just vanishing the moment you pay it. There are different levels of membership, sometimes called tiers. Kind of like how a video game might have a free version and then different upgrade levels that unlock more content, more support, and more opportunities. The lowest barrier to entry is incredibly small. Remember, 20 minutes a day, and some parts of exploring the ecosystem are even free to try before you commit to anything. Nobody is asking you to make a giant decision on day one. You are invited to explore first. Feel whether this actually resonates with you, and then choose the level of commitment that fits where you are. For people who want to go deeper, there are more intensive experiences too, like spending several days in a beautiful, calm location. Being personally guided through an accelerated version of this training. That is a bigger investment, but it is optional, and it exists for people who are ready to move faster. Think of it a little like choosing how you would learn a sport. You could just watch videos for free and pick up the basics. You could join a local team for a season and get real coaching. Or, if you were serious and had the resources, you could go to an intensive summer camp with a personal coach who accelerates your progress in just a few days. None of those choices is wrong. They are just different levels of commitment for different people at different moments in their journey, and this works the exact same way. So the honest answer to how you pay for it is this. You pay with a small amount of money at a level that matches how deep you want to go, and you pay with consistent time, starting at just 20 minutes a day. Both currencies matter. Money opens the door. Time and practice are what actually build the results. Return on investment. This next part is really important, so listen closely. When grown-ups talk about return on investment, they mean this. If I put something in, whether that is money or time, what do I get back out? Let us think about it in a way that makes sense, even if you're not thinking about money yet. Imagine you spend a year building your ability to stay calm under pressure, communicate clearly, think creatively, and connect with people. What happens? At school, or in any group project, you become the person people trust to lead, because you stay steady when things get stressful. In friendships, you become someone people actually want to be around, because you understand emotions instead of getting overwhelmed by them. If you want to build something someday, a business, an invention, a creative project, you become someone who can actually carry that idea all the way to reality, because you have trained the parts of yourself that turn ideas into results. Now zoom out to the adult version of this, for entrepreneurs, investors, and leaders. And remember, those are exactly the people this program is built for first. These human abilities are not just nice extras. They are the actual foundation underneath every successful decision, every trusted leader, every idea that actually gets built, instead of staying stuck as just a dream. There is also a path where people who go through this training can become certified themselves, meaning they get trained well enough to teach and guide other people through the same journey. That opens up an additional way this can support you beyond your own personal growth, by becoming something you help other people with too. I want to be honest with you here, the way a trustworthy teacher should be. Nobody can promise you an exact dollar amount or an exact result, because that depends on you, your effort, and your own path. What this method can promise is a much clearer, much faster route toward becoming genuinely more capable, more valuable, and more prepared for the world that is actually coming. That capability is the real return. Everything else grows out of that root. Let me tell you a quick story to make this land. Imagine two students, both 22 years old, both just finished with school. Student 1 spent those years mostly memorizing information and hoping a good grade would open doors later. Student 2 spent a portion of each week deliberately training the human side of themselves, learning to communicate clearly, stay steady under stress, think creatively, and genuinely understand people. 5 years later, both of them run into a moment where a machine can do the technical part of their job faster than either of them ever could. Student 1 panics because their whole sense of value was built on being the one who knew the facts. Student 2 barely blinks because their value was never just about knowing facts in the first place. That difference, right there, is the return on investment. It does not show up as one single check in the mail. It shows up as the ability to stay valuable no matter how much the world around you keeps changing. Proof. You might be thinking, okay, this all sounds nice, but does it actually work? That is a completely fair question, and it is one you should always ask about anything, not just this. Here is how proof works in something like this. It does not look like a magic before and after picture. It looks like real people, describing in their own words a specific shift they noticed in themselves. Someone who used to panic under pressure and learned to stay calm. Someone who used to feel scattered and learned to focus. Someone who used to avoid difficult conversations and learned to have them with confidence. There is a whole collection of these real accounts, real stories from real members, describing exactly this kind of change happening in one of the 12 areas this training focuses on. I also want to teach you something important about how good, honest information works, because this matters far beyond just this one topic. Trustworthy programs are careful about the difference between something that is proven with strong evidence, something that is a reasonable and supported idea, and something that is still just a theory being tested. The Complete Human Gymnasium is built by someone who cares a lot about being honest about which is which, instead of promising guaranteed miracles. That honesty is actually a form of proof too. When someone is careful and truthful about what they do not know yet, you can trust them more about what they say they do know. So the proof is not one dramatic story. It is a pattern, repeated across many different people, in many different areas of life, showing the same kind of thing again and again. That kind of repeated pattern is usually much more trustworthy than any single amazing story. The principles behind it. Every good system is built on top of a few core ideas that hold everything else up. Let me give you the most important ones here. The first principle is this: human beings are not just one thing. You are not only a body and not only a brain. You are physical, emotional, social, creative, and something you might call spiritual or meaningful, all at the same time. Most training in the world only focuses on one piece, like just your muscles or just your grades. This method insists on training the whole complete human being, all the different parts together, which is exactly where its name comes from. The second principle is that community has to come before buildings. This is actually a strict rule the creator follows. Before any physical location gets built, a real, connected group of people has to exist first. That might sound backwards, but think about it this way. A beautiful building with nobody who cares about it inside is empty. A strong community, even without a fancy building yet, is already alive and valuable, so people always come first. The third principle is honesty about evidence, which I just mentioned a moment ago. No pretending something is guaranteed when it is not. No dramatic, impossible promises. Just an honest, careful approach to what is known, what is likely, and what is still being tested. And the fourth principle, which I think is the most important one of all, is that being highly capable and being genuinely good are two different things that have to be chosen together on purpose. You can become extremely skilled, extremely coherent, extremely effective, and still use that power in a way that only benefits yourself while hurting others. This method is built with the belief that real strength should be used to create and to give, not only to take. That is a value choice, not just a skill, and it has to be chosen deliberately. Those four ideas, the whole human, community before buildings, honesty about evidence, and using strength for good, are the foundation everything else stands on. Here is a simple way to remember why that fourth principle matters so much. Imagine two people who both train themselves to become extremely persuasive, extremely calm under pressure, and extremely good at getting things done. One of them uses those exact same abilities to build something that genuinely helps people and treats the people around them with respect along the way. The other uses those same abilities purely to win, no matter who gets hurt in the process. From the outside, both of them might look equally skilled, equally impressive, even equally successful for a while, but only one of them is actually building something worth building. That is why this method treats character and capability as a package deal, not two separate things you can pick and choose between. The process to get started. Alright, You have made it almost all the way through. Let me leave you with something practical. If any of this sparked something in you, here is exactly what the actual first steps look like. Step 1. You explore. You do not have to commit to anything yet. There is a whole library of material you can read and explore first, so you can genuinely understand what this is before deciding anything. Step 2. You try the 20-minute practice. This is the real, low-pressure entry point. No long commitment, no big promise required from you. Just one real technique, practiced for 20 minutes, alongside other people doing the exact same thing at the same time. You get to feel what it is actually like from the inside instead of just hearing about it. Step 3. If it resonates, you choose a level of membership that fits where you are right now, honestly and without pressure. Remember, this is designed with different tiers, so there is a starting point that matches different levels of readiness and different levels of commitment. Step 4, and this one is optional, but powerful for people who are ready to move faster. You can book time for a more intensive, personally guided experience, spending real focused days immersed in this training with direct support. Step 5. For people who go far enough into it and want to, you can even become certified yourself, meaning you learn not just to grow personally, but to help guide other people through this same journey too. That is the whole path. Explore, try it for 20 minutes, choose your level, optionally go deeper, and eventually, if you want, help guide others. Closing. So here is where we end up. Machines are becoming incredibly capable. That is simply true, and it is not going to reverse. But that fact does not make you less valuable. It makes the deeply, permanently human parts of you more valuable than they have ever been in history. The Complete Human Gymnasium is built on one simple belief. The parts of you that a machine cannot replace are worth training on purpose, with the same seriousness and care that an athlete trains their body. You do not need 10 years to start. You need 20 minutes and the willingness to actually show up for yourself again and again. Thank you for listening all the way through. I am genuinely glad you spent this time thinking about what makes you irreplaceable.